It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Charleston Southern assistant volleyball coach, Coach Laura Belote. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Brandon.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching college volleyball?
I would love to. For me, it wasn't something that just kind of I knew automatically. I actually thought I was going to go on staff with a college ministry. God really made it evident that college is a pretty pivotal time for a lot of people. The ages 18 to 24, a lot of important decisions are being made. And so I started to pursue that college ministry, and it kind of in the meantime was coaching some high school volleyball, had played collegiately, and just through some really strong mentorship and God's leadership, was directed towards a graduate assistant position. And from there, have tried to walk as faithfully as I can in the role that God's made possible.
What was it like attending Charleston Southern as a player?
I loved it. I was very thankful to be here. I love that we were able to play a high level of volleyball in a Christian environment. So those are two things that were super attractive to me about coming to play here as an athlete. And it's been cool to have a role in hopefully seeing that progress.
Of course, what were some of your accomplishments as a player for Charleston Southern?
Probably my greatest accomplishments came in my relationships with my teammates. I was given some school awards while here, but my favorite parts were the relationships and the friendships that I built with the women that I got to play with, and staying connected to them today has been a blessing for me.
How was that feeling like when you got to put on that uniform for Charleston Southern's volleyball program?
It was an honor. I was kind of an undersized girl. I didn't know that I was going to be able to play Division I college sports, and so the first time that I put it on and being able to put it back on was an honor and a joy.
Of course, coming out of college, what was it like getting into club coaching?
It was kind of a natural progression for me. So when I was in college still, I actually had a teammate who was coaching a club team, and she had to leave early to go take a job, and she asked me to coach her team. And so it really wasn't something that I pursued super hard, but the doors were just open and I was able to step through them.
How is it like obviously getting that experience club coaching from country from different states like Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee?
Yeah, so I was actually in Mississippi for a little bit, and then Georgia and South Carolina, and all of them are a little bit different, but people are people, and when you can enjoy them and learn to work well with them, then the process is pretty good. So all three places, my role was a little bit different. So like I said, here when I was coaching club, I kind of stepped into a role mid-season. When I was in Georgia, I was helping more with some kind of private lessons and just a smaller club in the northward Georgia mountains. And then in Mississippi was able to coach two different teams before God brought me back here.
How was your experience like getting to work as a grad assistant for a volleyball program?
It was a joy for me. I was at a Division III school, and for me, that meant that I got to be a part of every aspect of what happened. So it was a huge time of growth and learning for me. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything.
What was that experience like learning from a Division III school on how they built their program to then take over and become an assistant coach at your alma mater?
Well, it was like I said, super learning. I worked for Coach Justin D, and he was a godly man, and so seeing him um, seek to to use his work to honor God was a huge example for me. And I'm thankful that that's something, and in both schools are Christian schools. And so that's something that has been able to be a part of my coaching career pretty openly, which I'm really thankful for that.
What was that feeling like getting to come back to your alma mater of Charleston Southern to become an assistant coach?
Again, just an honor. I just really have to thank the people that allowed that to happen and that asked me to come back there. My husband and I prayed when I was coming to interview here, a verse out of Proverbs that talks about the Lord turning a king's heart. And for me on paper, maybe it doesn't look like this would be the perfect fit, but it has been a huge blessing for me.
Of course, coming back to Charleston Southern, what was it like getting adapted to being a coach versus a player of your alma mater?
Yeah. So one of the cool parts for me is just the timing of all of it. Obviously, when you become a coach, you kind of see the background. You begin to understand maybe some of your coach's decisions a little bit more fully. Things that I might not have understood when I was 18. When I came back, I had a little bit better of an understanding of, and so that was a huge gift to me. I think the one of the cool parts was I still was closely enough related to the program that I'd stayed connected with people, but I wasn't coaching girls that I had played with. Sometimes that can be a really hard dynamic when it comes to coaching people that were your friends. Essentially, it makes a big difference. So for me, there was enough distance and enough time and space that it all worked out really well.
Of course, how was that like, as you said, coming back where some of your friends were already gone and way past the program?
What was that, Brandon? Sorry.
How was it like coming back where some of your friends was way gone and past the program, so you didn't have that friendship bond?
Well, it was hard, but it was a different season of life. So it's good. I'm still able to stay connected to a lot of them with social media and texting and calling and all the fun stuff that we use to stay connected these days.
How was that feeling like in 2021 when you got promoted to become the associate head coach?
It was a joy. My buddy just walked in, Coach McFatridge. He's here this week. So I can't thank him enough for that honor, and that I get to work with him every day.
Of course, once you took over as the associate head coach, what were some of your roles and responsibilities?
Well, we really talk about it a lot, but we work as a team and we work together. So there's been a lot of continuity in what I was doing before, and I'm just thankful that Coach McFatridge saw fit to give me a title change, and we get to do this together.
Of course, on game day, what is that like at now as a coach versus your time as a player?
We try to make it pretty intentional. So on game days, we try to get everybody in the gym as much as we can, and give them a little bite to eat beforehand, and really let the joy of game day come to life. So it's an intentional, fun day. That's what we want it to be, and we want to be focused on the task at hand.
While being an alma mater of the program and also on the coaching staff, how has it been like obviously having that front row seat to coach the future Buckers of Charleston Southern?
It's been a joy. I've been super thankful for that. I hope that my experience and perspective as a student athlete here equips me to be the best coach that I can be for the players that God brings us, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
What are some of your game day routines and rituals like now as a coach versus your time as a player?
That's a good question. I think for me, just trying to have a good handle on our game plan. We usually get about 30 minutes in the office that is a little bit quieter, where I can kind of just look through and make sure that I have all my game notes ready to go, and usually try to keep that time upbeat. And sometimes I like to read a little bit beforehand. So it just depends on the match and the situation and the timing of things. But definitely want to go into any match as prepared as possible.
How is it like obviously helping and coaching and winning and having that winning program?
It's a joy. It's been great to see the program continue to progress and get better. We are coming off a pretty tough match this past weekend, but we're thankful for the group that God's put together here, and excited for the future, and want to keep getting better in this off season, and encourage our players to do their best, to be their best.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped build upon from your time as a player to now as a coach?
Yeah, I think one of the things that Coach McFadrick's really brought, and we've been able to pursue together, is it's hugely important in any team dynamic to go to the person and to make sure that we resolve conflict in a way that honors God and others. And so we use the biblical model to resolve conflict, which means we go to the person. And I think for a lot of teams, sometimes that gets lost in frustration or whatever it may be. And that's a big part of our culture that we want to continue, and that we want to promote as a staff and among our team.
Who are some of the teams that you face each week in your conference?
So our conference is the Big South Conference. We play Campbell, who's actually leaving our conference, but Campbell, High Point, Winthrop, Presbyterian College, Radford, USC Upstate, UNC Asheville. I know I'm missing some, but those are a couple of them.
Of course, as a coach now, what is it like getting to coach against those teams that you played in college against?
It's fun. I always want to win, no matter who's across the net, whether it's in conference or out of conference. So it is especially fun when we beat teams that maybe we didn't perform well against when I was a player, or whatever it may be. But no matter who's across the net, we want to win.
What are some of your coaching accomplishments so far?
Probably some of the coolest things that God's allowed me to be a part of is seeing some of our players come to know the Lord and come to get baptized. And so those aren't my accomplishments; those are the Lord's. But those are just privileges that I've had as a result of the role that God's given me. So seeing growth in women, making harder decisions or making decisions that might be tough. Those are the things that I count as accomplishments. Seeing young ladies become women and really take on new challenges and rise to occasions on and off the court is a joy. So those are the things that I would count as accomplishments.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play college volleyball?
So for us, we use email a lot. So if we have a player that's interested in coming our way, we encourage them to reach out via email. There are NCAA rules that prohibit us from talking to players before a certain time, and but that's one of our primary resources. And then if we are on the road and we see athletes that are the caliber of player that we want to bring to our campus or to get to know a little bit better, we kind of begin that process mostly either by phone call or through email. So
of course, what is it like getting to see those people perform at the top level and want to come to Charleston Southern?
It's a lot of fun. There's not a lot of jobs that you get to see development and growth like you do in college sports and college athletes. So it's really a blast to watch someone come in that is a senior in high school and see what they look like when they're a senior in college. And that's important to see growth and continue to pursue, and a continued desire to pursue excellence and to get better. That's something that we hope when a incoming freshman gets here, that they know that they're the best volleyball player that they can be by the time that they leave. And if that leads them to go play professionally or to go be a great wife, a great mom, or a great lawyer, or a great business person, or whatever it may be, that they've accomplished a really unique task that a lot of people don't get to do. So
what does the official visit look like at Charleston Southern?
So one of the things that we've kind of started this year and we're thankful for is we like to bring committed athletes on official visits. They've made a commitment to us, and so we want to give them an opportunity to see campus and to spend a lot of times um, with their future teammates. And so this past season, we had the opportunity to bring 5 of our incomers on campus, and they get to know one another. Their families got to know one another. We got to show them campus and eat a great Charleston meal together. And so those are some of the things that we like to incorporate on an official visit for us.
As the alumni and a coach of the program, what is it like obviously seeing those future Buccaneers get to put on that jersey and represent Charleston Southern like you did?
It's a really neat experience. I think for Division I volleyball college athletes, less than 1% of volleyball high school volleyball players get to come and play Division I college volleyball, and so being able to be a part of that process and push for excellence in the midst of that process is a really sweet joy.
What is that like obviously getting to see them perform on game days and fall in love with the sport of college volleyball?
Well, when they do it at their best, it's a lot of fun. When they're not doing it at their best, it's a little bit frustrating. But for the most part, when they go out and give it everything that they've got, that is a lot of fun to watch and to encourage. But one of the parts as a coach that is maybe a little bit less glamorous, but equally as important is encouraging our athletes to be their best. And that is a hard task. Sometimes we want our athletes to give it all they've got, every opportunity they get. And so anyway, for what that's worth, that's kind of a double-sided question, because when they're doing their best and we're all in all together all the time, man, it's a lot of fun. But when we have those points of backing off or not giving it their best or our best, then it makes it a little tough.
What are some of your coaching accomplishments so far?
So Brandon, one of the things we talked about a few minutes ago, but just seeing young women developed is a huge joy for me. Some of the wins that we've had this past season were a lot of fun. We beat the College of Charleston for the first time in about 30 years, so that one was a blast. The wins on the court are of course awesome, but Brandon, I really believe that as much fun as they are and as much as they matter in the moment, there's eternity at stake for these young women. And so in the midst of that, we want to be intentional to give God the glory for whatever win or whatever accomplishment we may have. We know that it comes from him ultimately, and it is for him ultimately.
What are some of your future plans for the Charleston Southern program moving forward?
Well, we want to honor God, like I was just saying, by winning championships. So that really is our big goal. We want to win the Big South Championship, and we want to get to the NCAA tournament. And we had a good season this year. We're not satisfied with how it ended. We want to be our best all the time, and we did well to an extent to go to the Big South tournament and finish in the top 4 this season. That's not an easy task for any team. But we left some wins out on the table that we wish we would have had, and one of them being our last game of the season. So definitely have work ahead of us, but that's what we're pursuing. We want to pursue championships to honor God.
What advice would you give those future high school athletes looking to perform on the college level?
I would say to work your tail off, to be coachable, and opportunities will present themselves, and to be open to those opportunities. I think sometimes it might be easy as a high school athlete to have a one-track mind, and I think that there are opportunities out there in places that might surprise you. But yeah, so those are a few of the things that I would say to a high school athlete.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to perform professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited, Team USA, Team Canada, or Team Mexico?
Yeah. I would tell them to make the most of every opportunity that they're given collegiately. That there's a grueling aspect to being a Division I college athlete. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but man, make the most of the opportunities that you're given, and those can open up some pretty remarkable doors.
What advice would you give those future assistant coaches looking to get started in coaching at college volleyball?
Be a learner, be willing to learn, and be loyal. Know that you don't know it all, and be willing to listen and grow. And yeah, those are probably the things that I would say.
What advice would you give those people such as yourself looking to coach at their alma mater?
Oh, Brandon, I don't know. I think just be thankful if the opportunity presents itself, but work hard wherever God's called you, because I recognize that this is a unique place to be, and I'm thankful for that. But if that opportunity presents itself to someone, just be intentional and be thankful.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Charleston Southern volleyball program at?
Yeah, so I am at Laura Grace _2, and our Charleston Southern volleyball page is I think it's at Charleston Southern V-ball. Is that right, Josh?
What's that?
Our social media page?
Yeah, Charleston Southern.
V-ball.
VB, yeah.
VB.
Yeah.
Charleston Southern VB. So that is the spot.
Thank you again, Lauren Grace Belote, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Charleston Southern as the Associate Head Volleyball Coach.
Thanks, Brandon. Have a great day.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Lauren Grace, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.